Thanks for joining us on In Focus tonight. The trial for all 6 officers accused in the death of Freddie Gray is tentatively scheduled for next month. But lawyers on both sides are expected in court tomorrow on a series of legal motions before the case starts. In Focus investigator Brian Kubler will be in the courtroom tomorrow, and he joins us now with kind of a preview, Brian, of what we can expect tomorrow.
Yeah, Kelly, again, the trial is not beginning tomorrow, but we may get a pretty good feel for how both the state and the defense plan to argue their case as both sides argue over several motions tomorrow.
2 days have been set aside for each side to argue motions in front of Judge Barry Williams. It will take at least that long to wade through a file that has grown past 3 full accordion folders of points and counterpoints. At issue will be some pretty contentious topics, including motions to dismiss charges, whether or not Marilyn Mosby's office should be disqualified from trying the case, if all 6 officers should be tried together, and eventually change of venue.
I'm not so sure whether there's going to be any finality for any of these cases tomorrow.
Jeremy Eldridge is a current defense attorney but was formerly an assistant state's attorney. Tomorrow, he says, is simply part of the legal process, motions that may determine some ground rules for the trial. The big motion tomorrow will be the defense's belief that Marilyn Mosby and her office has a conflict of interest in this case and that the charges against the Baltimore 6 should be dismissed.
I think that this issue needs to be put to bed quickly. There's been a lot of rhetoric on both sides in these motions regarding Miss Mosby's continued public involvement and, sitting on stage with Prince, the very public address made, and the sort of unapologetic tone of wanting to bring justice to the family. The problem on the defense side is that this is tainting the jury pool.
The arguments have already been laid out in legal briefs before each side steps into Judge Barry Williams' court tomorrow, but new arguments can be made in all the motions. Judge Williams can either rule on the motions at his leisure or immediately. It's the latter instance that has the Baltimore Police Department canceling leave and prepared for an all-hands-on-deck approach to planned protests or any reaction to any decision inside this courthouse.
At this time, we haven't divulged exactly what the strategies are, and we have plans in place if need be. So if we don't have to implement things, we're not going to implement things.
But it's not just tomorrow. While several motions will be heard and some may even be ruled upon, next Thursday, September 10th, could be the bigger hearing. Then the defense will argue for a change of venue, a singular motion scheduled to take the entire day. But still, attorneys warn it's just one more step of a pre-trial process.
My advice to everyone is really to take a step back and to take a deep breath and realize that this is going to be a long process, and realize that if you want a just outcome, if you want the justice that Miss Mosby proclaimed that she would provide, which will come through the judicial system, then everyone has to be patient and allow these cases to be fleshed out.
Now, pretrial hearings don't usually make news. This is an extenuating circumstance, and so security around the courthouse and in and around it is amplified. There will also be no parking near the courthouse. Neither of the 6 officers are expected to attend, nor are they required to.